Hello, this is Music Tech Help Guide. Welcome to episode 41 of my Logic Pro 10 video tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the Note Repeater plugin, which is one of the many new MIDI effects plugins included with Logic 10. Essentially what the Note Repeater is it's a MIDI delay line. And it's a MIDI delay as opposed to an audio delay. And there are some advantages to MIDI delays as opposed to audio delays. With an audio delay, like the stereo delay or the delay designer or the echo plugins, you're basically altering the audio signal. Here, we're actually just repeating MIDI notes. We're just delaying MIDI notes. So you can choose the number of specific repeats that you want. You can even transpose the delays up or down, which you can do a little bit of that in delay designer, but usually that's not something that's a controllable parameter in most audio delay plugins. So before we take a look at the Note Repeater, let me just play what I have here. It's just a really basic idea. I've got one of a retro synth up here, an ES2 with kind of like a pulsing bass groove, and then just a stock ultra beat loop. So let's just take a look at the retro synth. This is the one that I'm going to throw the Note Repeater on. And right now, just basically on the second beat of every measure, it's doing this. Nothing too special. With the Note Repeater, we can take a very simple idea like this, and we can give it a little bit more motion by adding notes to it. So what I'm going to do is turn on the Note Repeater here. I'm going to make sure that through is on, because with through off, you'll basically hear the delays, but you won't hear the first note that you typed in or that you play in. So I'm going to make sure that I turn through on. Next, right here, this is the number of repeats that you'll hear. So right now it's set at 3, so we hear our initial note plus 3 notes after that, 3 repeats of it. So let's just take a listen to what this sounds like. So we're hearing 4 notes total, the original note plus 3 repeats. And we can bump that up, we can bump that down. You can go all the way up to 99 repeats. Not that you'd really want that many, but you can have that many. I'm going to set it back to 3. There we go. The other thing that you can do down here is you can transpose your delays. Now, the transposition value is in semitones. It's musical half steps. So you can go up or down by up to 24 semitones. Now, if I choose to go up by 1 semitone, I'm basically going to have a delay that's kind of ascending up the chromatic scale, basically going up every key on the keyboard. And actually, to demonstrate that, let me just pull in some more delays here. We'll do 7 repeats. It's not exactly, musically useful. What is very musically useful is if you start setting the transpose to kind of meaningful intervals like fifths or fourths. A perfect fifth is 7 semitones. A perfect fourth is 5 semitones. Another one I find really useful is making it transpose by an octave. An octave is 12 semitones. So therefore, 24 semitones would be 2 octaves. So if I put this at 12 semitones, you'll get something like this. Now, obviously, we're running out of notes there, so I'm going to pull my repeats down. I'll put it to 3. And actually, I'm going to set this to 2 repeats instead. So each one of those notes that's in the MIDI region is being bumped up an octave and then another octave as it's repeated. Another thing you can do down here is you can adjust the velocity ramp, which is going to kind of make your velocities get quieter or basically softer or louder So you can, start with a softer note and then have your echoes be louder, and then you can pull it over to the left and you can have your echoes be softer, a lot like a real delay would work. So I prefer to pull this over to the left a bit so that my echoes are a bit softer. Now you can hear there it didn't do it, and the reason for that is that the plugin that I'm using is the retro synth, and one of the at least the patch that I'm using has the velocity reactivity set all the way to 0. So it basically means that we're not, velocity doesn't mean anything to this synth. So all I need to do is just pull that up, and then velocity will mean something to the synth. And there's a lot of patches like that. So if you find that your velocity ramp isn't working, you probably just need to go into that plugin and pull up there's probably a velocity slider or fader in there that you just need to adjust. And there we go. The last parameter you can control is actually the rate of the delay. Right now we have a synced delay, and synced delay I think is preferable for this because you can basically set it to a specific musical value, like an 8th note, a 16th note, whatever. If you turn this off, you can adjust it in milliseconds, which again I don't find that as useful because I want my delays to be I want them to fit into the grid. I want them to fit to the tempo. So I always like to turn this on and then set the delay time to a musically useful rhythm, like an 8th note or a 16th note. So let's try a 16th note. And I'll add in another repeat. And there we go. So let me just see what this sounds like now with everything in there. And there you go. That's the note repeater. It's probably one of the easiest to use of the new MIDI effects plugins in Logic 10. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks again for watching.